Hey folks, this is Matt with Coyote Creek Archery, and today's video I'm going to talk to you about arrows, and more specifically, Altra Arrows. These are part of the outdoor group, which includes Elite and all their sister companies, Scott and Slick Trick, and CBE, Winner's Choice Strings. And so I'm a dealer for them, and these are new to me. I know they've been out for a while, probably 6 or 8 months. Altra Arrows have been on the market. And there's been a little bit more hype over them lately. So I wanted to talk about them a little bit. I was able to get my hands on some. These are their 166 diameter Altra Arrows. And I'm going to try these out this year. My plan anyway is to try these out this year. Hopefully I'm drawing an elk tag, and I'm going to use these for an elk hunt. And in the past, what I've shot is gold tip arrows, and I'm still a dealer for gold tip, and I stock a lot of their products. They make a great arrow, very durable. This is what I shot last year, is the Gold Tip Black Label Quantum. It is a 204 inside diameter, and straightness on it is a .025. And it uses kind of a half outsert system with this is a 25 grain aluminum insert. It's going to go about 1.5 inches down inside the shaft where it's glued in, and then it's threaded here on the end. It's also threaded on the back side, so if you're wanting to use additional weights, Gold Tip calls them fact weights, if you wanted to add some more weight to the front of your arrow, you could do that just by threading through the back end of this. And then nice thing, it's got a collar, they call it a ballistic collar, where your field point is going to match up with that. So you can use a standard 5/16 field point, and it's going to match up flush with the front of the arrow. And these have been good for me. This arrow is weighing about 420 grains with a AAE IP knock on the back end. I've got AAE Max Stealth vanes and a wrap, so I've got a little bit of weight on the back, but the front of center is not terrible. So we've got a decent front of center on this arrow, which is not something that I dive into real deep, but it's there. So this has been a good arrow, about 420 grains with this knock on it. Before that, I was shooting Gold Tip Kinetic Chaos. And I should mention, this is 7.7 grains per inch on a 340 spine. The Kinetic Chaos on a 340 spine is 9.9 grains per inch. So it's a heavier arrow. I was up around 480, 485, somewhere in that ballpark. I haven't weighed these for a while. With this shaft, so it's a little bit heavier. And I did a video on these a year or two ago, and talked about the difference between these two arrows. Really, out to 30 yards, I was hitting in the same point. Once I got beyond 30 yards, I was starting to see some more drop with this shaft. I don't hunt much past 30 yards. You know, I have shot a few animals 35, 40. I think I did shoot a pronghorn one year at 45 yards. But for me, the whole point of bow hunting, archery hunting, is to get close to the animals that you're pursuing. So long range shots are fine for practice, but for me, for hunting is not something I'm interested in. If that's something that you want to do, that's your deal. But that's not how I prefer to hunt. But anyways, this was a little bit heavier arrow, and it was great. For whitetail, it's fine because, again, I'm taking closer shots. It does have a brass bushing for your knock on the back end, and then this uses a 166 diameter GTO knock. And I did use nocturnals on both of these arrows, so that bumps up the weight a little bit as well. But both really good arrows. The arrow I'm using for 3D, and again, this isn't really a target arrow, it's just one that I wanted to try, and I wanted to get a little bit lighter arrow so I could have a flatter trajectory. This is a 400 spine, Gold Tip Velocity XT, and it weighs 7.4 grains per inch. But I'm only running 100 grain field point, and these arrows are like 350 grains. And through my Elite ethos, I'm 57, 58 pounds, and I think these are moving 275, something like that. I could bump the draw weight up a little bit and probably get around 280 if I wanted to, and that may be something I do later on. But this is my plan to use these just for target, and I'm not saying competitive target. I'm just saying just for shooting out here in the yard, for practice, and for some of the 3D shoots that I plan to go to this year. The vanes on these, this is an AAE hybrid HP, It's their hybrid material. It has this similar shape of a boning blazer vane, and I used blazer vanes for quite a few years on the arrows that I would build for customers. And I had some issues with them sticking. They just didn't seem to hold up as far as sticking. They were durable and did a great job of steering a broadhead. They were a little bit noisy, but I prefer the hybrid HP. The AAE products, that's hard to say. AAE products have been really good. So I use their adhesives, I use their vanes, and several other of their products. And this is probably what I'm going to put on these Altra Arrows right here. So back to these. This is their 166. They come in. You can get a 166, a 246, a 23 and a 27 target arrow, and then they come in two different straightness options. The limited, which is what this is a .003, and the Premier is their .001, so a super straight arrow shaft. But I have with these shafts, what I've done is I've cut them down and I've got the inserts glued into them, and I wanted to show them to you, but I got them glued in and I thought I should probably do a video on these. So I'll do the best I can and try to get this up close. But there is, I think it's about 3/4 of an inch. There, part of this insert will be inserted into the shaft, glued into the shaft. And then in front of that, sticking out past, there's a collar, there's a small O-ring, and then there's a threaded end. And then you will have a collar that's going to thread on to the end of this to complete your arrow. This is threaded where you can put your field pointer broadhead. And then the back side of that insert inside of the shaft is also threaded where you can use Altra's weight system, similar to what Gold Tip does, if you wanted to increase the weight to the front. Now, their insert system on these 166s weighs about 50 grains, so you are adding some weight to the front of the arrow. So you might want to look at what weight of broadhead, what field points you're using, so you can get the correct spine and you can get the correct weight of arrow that you're looking for. For me, I'm kind of a middle of the road person. You know, I don't want to go super light for a hunting arrow, but I don't want to go super heavy. If you've watched any of my videos in the past, I have 28-inch draw, I shoot about 60 pounds. And so I like to be what I consider to be middle of the road, anywhere from 410 up to about 460, 480 grains, somewhere in there. But for elk, I may be taking a little bit longer shot. I'm wanting to stay in that 430 to 450 range. It's kind of my ideal place to be. And that's just me, what I'm hoping for. I may add some weight to the front, and 125s may fly better than 100s. We'll just see how that works. Another unique thing with these arrows is they have what they call their no spine technology, or there's not a specific stiff or weak spine to these arrows. So you don't have to do any knock tuning. So once you've got your nocks in there, you don't have to take several shots, rotate that nock, and figure out which way that arrow wants to be oriented to get proper arrow flight. So that's something I'm looking forward to seeing how that works out. And I will post a review of this later on after I've had a chance to shoot these. I did cut these down and squared the ends, cleaned up the insides, and then I'm glued in my inserts. I use the AAE, their Max Impact for their inserts. I really like that. I did notice that these collars, they thread on okay. Some of them are a little difficult to get seated properly. So I went along and I did a half dozen at first, and after I had the inserts installed, some of them were just 1/8 of an inch longer or shorter than the others. And so I had to go back, put it in a padded vise, and clamp this down so that I could get that threaded in all the way. I put a little bit of blue Loctite on there. I don't know that that's necessary. I think that's what your O-ring is for, just to help hold this in place so it's not rattling, and to kind of provide some tension on that insert. But nice thing with these inserts is they're going to match up with a 5/16 field point or your broadhead on the front. And it's going to give you a little bit more weight up front with that as well. So I'm looking forward to trying these. When I cut them down, I spun them first, did a spin test. They spun really nice. They for a .003, I didn't really notice any wobble, but I still went ahead and I cut I cut 1.5 inches. No, I cut 2.5 inches off the back end, and then I cut the rest off the front. I ended up a little bit under 27 inches carbon to carbon. This is a 350 spine, but because of your insert up front, that adds 1.5 inches to the front and then to the throat of the nock. My total arrow length from throat of the nock to the end of the insert is 28.25 inches. Is right where I wanted to be. And so I had to do a little bit of math and figure out how that was going to work, but it worked out great. And like I said, 1.25 inches is what this collar is going to add to the front of the arrow. So that's something I had to keep in mind. Take some measurements and do a little bit of math to get that to work out. But worked out great. They look good. And I weighed these. So just so that you know, this is a 350 spine. Again, from the throat of the nock to the end of the insert, I'm 28.25 inches, and I was right at 308 grains. So by the time I add fletching and I add 100 grain field point to the front, I'm going to be right in that 440, 435, 440 ballpark, right where I'm wanting to be with this arrow. So I think that's going to work out really well. Other than that, they come with their own nocks. They're a little bit slimmer than the IP nocks that I've been using, so I may have to make a slight adjustment to my D-loop to get that to work how I want. But I'm excited to get these built. I'm going to put a wrap on here. I'm going to use those AAE hybrid HP vanes and get them built, shoot through paper, see if I have to make any adjustments to my rest. Being that it's a little bit smaller diameter, I may have to bump that rest up just a little bit. We'll see once I shoot through paper and see how that works out. And then hopefully our snow outside starts to melt a little bit, and I'll get out and start shooting these and see what I'm getting, see how well they're flying and how good they're grouping. Obviously that's not all on the arrow. A lot of that's going to be on me as well, but I'm excited. We're getting close to the end of January here, so hopefully you haven't just put your bow away and you're waiting for September, October to come back around. Now's a good time to be working on your equipment, and that's what I'm doing here, is trying to prepare for the next season. I'm still in the weight room. I'm still working on my arrows. I'm still working on my bow setup, and every day I'm going through these things and just trying to make myself better every way that I can. Because I put a lot of money into this hunt that I've got coming up, and I want to make sure that everything is, I've checked all the boxes, and not only is my equipment ready to go, but I'm ready to go physically and mentally myself. So what I'm saying is I encourage you to keep grinding at it, keep working at it, and not just say I'm putting stuff away and we're going to wait until the fall till I'm ready to start shooting again. So stick with it. Try to shoot your bow every day if you can. Work on your equipment, and that'll make you a better archer and a better hunter all the way around. One other thing I wanted to mention, if you check out my website, coyotecreekarchery.com, my web store is updated and ready to go. Looks a lot better, a lot cleaner, and so check that out. I've got a lot of products if you just need a package of broadheads, if you're looking for a new release, something like that, or if you're local and you want to come in and check out the bows or need a set of arrows built, whatever it might be, check out my website. I've got the web store up there, so you can order some things, and I'll ship them all over the lower 48. I'd be glad to help you out however I can in that way. Hopefully this video was helpful. If you have any questions or comments, just want some questions about these arrows, you can, my information is on the website again, coyotecreekarchery.com. Shoot me an email, you can send me a text, give me a phone call. I would be glad to help you out. I'm not currently stocking these, but I will order these in as needed if customers are interested. So down the road, if I get more interest, then I may start carrying them in the store. But as of right now, they're just a special order item. So anyways, hopefully this video was helpful, folks. Have a great day. Thanks for watching, and God bless.